of the path to 100x value. So of course, passion, purpose, prosperity, all flowing together. Now, this is, for context, this is on the prosperity angle, so we're going to talk about money here. And taking a look at what we've talked in previous weeks, which is our ideal client, our starving audience. So out of all the people that we can serve, who's the 20% that gets the most value from what we have? And then even with that, who's that 4% in the middle that gets the most value and is the starving audience? And we can get to everybody perhaps, but let's start with the ones in the middle, and that's how things tend to flow easier. So on this idea of 100x value, I've been seeing this happen, like I said, in the charity. I've seen it happen in my business, and I'll share an example here to bring this in. And then what we'll do is we'll get into the flow state experience, the subconscious clearing, on things that arise with this path to 100x value. So I noticed that, okay, if we're serving everybody, yes, we can have a service, but it's very general. It's not precise. So let's just call that 1x value. Yes, it does produce value, but it's general. So an example of that be, like what I've shared in previous webinars is we want to help teams work in flow state. Okay, that's great. But that's is that corporate companies, small business, which size, 5 people, 15, 1,500, 15,000. So as we niche down into purpose-driven agencies with virtual teams, it's that helped us provide 10x value, because now we can tailor it to the that specific problem, needs, solutions. And now the thing that I've been thinking about is, okay, so say that's really dialed in here. As we start to get into the 4%, I started realizing there's certain agencies that we're looking to work together where they want the done-for-you solution. And they want it to be, not done with you, or excuse me, not do it yourself, not done with you. They want it done for you. And for the right business, that truly can be 100x value of what was starting in the business. And so that's something that's it's been on my mind. It's shown up in the charity as well, because I started helping through seeing, okay, if we want to charge ticket sales for an event, how can we deliver 10x value of what each person donates? Yes, it's a donation, but how do we have the value reflected like it is a business? And for the right people, how could we even 100x this value? So bringing this in for today, before we get into the subconscious clearing, what I'd invite you to do is let me know in the comments. Let's see here. Yeah, how this resonates with you in terms of the people that you can provide the greatest impact with, that are quote unquote the starving audience for what you have. And maybe is there 1 or 2 clients in there that want the full on done for you. And maybe that price, like what I experienced with one potential client, I really had to take a look at what would make it worth it. It was a very high amount, and they're like, okay, let's talk further. This is okay. Let's look at the details of this. So in terms of bringing this back to the context with prosperity, who can we create the most value for? Who's already around us? It's kind of like the spiritual type side of things is, who's already in our field who could use the support, but there just isn't the avenue for that to come through. And nice, Beth, you shared, you said you definitely have a combo. Great. So like I said, this has been on my mind, and there's been some very interesting things happening where it's 10x, 100x, the things that I was looking at before, as I've been sharing with others as well. It seems to be the theme of the week, top of the week. So now we'll go into the subconscious clearing of any resistance that can come up preventing this. Some examples are fears of, hey, maybe it's a bigger package than ever before. Any fears that can come up with that. Can we deliver, or is it feeling uncomfortable to have that amount coming in the bank account? Maybe it's tension or resistance that can come through in many different ways from us growing up in childhood. Of, maybe maybe it's too easy. Maybe it's too easy. And that's what I realized too with one of these packages I was working on, is that like out of all the things that we could do, if it just did this one thing, that would be 100x value for them. And they didn't need the other stuff. So, and also bringing this in with your zone of genius that we always talk about. So your zone of genius, not your zone of excellence, but your zone of genius, that tends to feel really easy for us. So if that 100x value is our zone of genius, is that done for you deal, then it can line up. Nice. Yeah, so you shared, Beth shared, I have trouble saying no when it's not 100% right. Absolutely. So let's, me too. Let's address that in the subconscious clearing. And yeah, perhaps, how it resonates with me is like I'll have a feeling about it of like, I can feel something's out there, but my mind is like, let's just put it through, or I'll see the best in people or the situation and be that optimism, like, oh, we'll kind of figure it out. It's like, track record would say no. So anything that holds us back from addressing it, and what I've realized for myself too, it's been kind of a painful lesson is, if I would have just addressed it in the beginning, sometimes that could have shifted the relationship. Sometimes not, but sometimes it could have. So let's go ahead and just take a pause to just reflect on any other items before we get into the flow state experience, which is like a guided meditation on steroids. So any fears, resistance, friction to serving simply those clients that want that ultra premium, let's call it, because it's more than just premium, that ultra premium service, and delivering it in a way where we still have our freedom because we're so laser focused on the 80-20 of the 80-20 of what actually matters.